In a small town, there lived a boy named Rehan. He was sharp-minded, full of potential, and carried big dreams in his heart. His ambition was to become a doctor, but there was one major challenge. He lacked control over his own mind. Rehan struggled with discipline. His thoughts were scattered, making it difficult for him to concentrate. Every time he sat down to study, distractions would pull him away. His phone, social media, or even his endless daydreams. He kept reassuring himself, "I'll study later. There's still plenty of time." But later never came. His parents and teachers repeatedly advised him, stressing the importance of focus and discipline. However, Rehan never paid much attention to their words. He believed that being intelligent was enough to succeed. One day, his school announced the results of a scholarship exam he had appeared for. He had been hopeful, dreaming of securing a scholarship that would bring him closer to his dream of becoming a doctor. But when the results were declared, his hopes shattered. He had failed. Meanwhile, his friends, who had studied with dedication, passed with outstanding marks. The teachers who once admired him now looked at him with disappointment. Rehan felt a deep sense of shame. Not because he wasn't smart, but because he knew he had wasted his time. That evening he sat alone, reflecting on his failure. He thought about all the hours he had carelessly lost to distractions. It finally hit him. Intelligence alone was not enough. Without discipline, success was impossible. Determined to turn his life around, Rehan decided to seek guidance from someone who truly understood self-discipline. He had heard of a wise monk living on the outskirts of town, a man who had once been ordinary but had transformed his life through mental mastery. The very next morning, Rohan set out to visit the monastery where the monk resided. He found the old sage meditating under a tree, his face glowing with tranquility. With humility, Rehan bowed and said, "Master, I struggle to control my thoughts. I have big dreams, but I constantly lose focus. Please teach me how to discipline my mind." The monk slowly opened his eyes and smiled. "Ah, the restless mind," he said. "It is the greatest challenge of all. Come, let me share a story with you. Many years ago," the monk began, "there was a young man named Veer who dreamed of becoming the greatest archer in the kingdom. He had natural strength and talent, but his biggest weakness was focus. His mind was always distracted. Some days he would train with determination. Other days he would waste time on unnecessary things. Frustrated, he sought out a famous archery master and pleaded, "Master, I want to be the best archer. Please, train me." The master took Veer to the riverbank, where the water flowed steadily. He handed Veer a bow and arrow and pointed to a floating leaf. "Shoot that leaf," he instructed. Veer took aim and released the arrow, but he missed the target. The master asked, "What did you see while aiming?" Veer replied, "I saw the river, the trees, the sky, and the leaf." The master shook his head and said, "That is your weakness. You see too much at once. A true archer sees only his target. Nothing else matters." Determined to improve, Veer practiced relentlessly. He trained his mind to block out all distractions. After months of dedication, the master tested him again. This time, when asked what he saw, Veer confidently said, "Only the leaf." When he released the arrow, it struck the target with perfect precision. The monk turned to Rohan and said, "Your mind is just like Veer's, distracted by everything around you. If you wish to achieve success, you must train your mind to focus solely on your goal." Rehan understood the lesson but still had one question. "Master, how do I train my mind?" he asked eagerly. The monk smiled and shared 4 powerful principles. First, control your thoughts. Each time your mind drifts, bring it back to the task at hand, just like an archer locks onto his target. Second, build a structured routine. Discipline requires consistency. Set a daily schedule and stick to it. Third, eliminate distractions. Identify what steals your focus, whether it's your phone, television, or unnecessary habits, and remove them when working. Lastly, be persistent. Mental discipline isn't developed overnight. It requires daily effort, just like an athlete strengthening his body through regular training. Taking the monk's wisdom to heart, Rehan completely changed his approach. He created a strict study schedule and followed it without excuses. Whenever his mind wandered, he reminded himself of his goal. He stopped using social media while studying, and even deleted unnecessary apps from his phone. At first, it was difficult. His mind craved distractions, but he refused to give in. Slowly but surely, his focus sharpened, and soon he could study for hours without losing concentration. Importa. Months later, when he appeared for another important exam, he was fully prepared. This time, he didn't just pass, he secured the highest rank. His success wasn't a result of luck or intelligence alone. It was the power of his disciplined mind that led him there. He had finally realized that true success success isn't about how smart you are, but about how well you control your mind. Years later, as he stood on stage, receiving an award for academic excellence, he recalled the monk's words, "The mind is like a wild horse. If left uncontrolled, it will take you in any direction it pleases. But if you train it, it will take you exactly where you wish to go." From that moment on, Rehan lived by one golden principle: discipline your mind, and success will follow.